Dear learners, today's topic is evolvement of the Indian automobile industries. Nowadays, it is very important industry, automobiles industries. In this case, we have to study about different evolutions of the automobiles, then evolution in Indian context, then automobile industry related to the Pan India, then automobile industry global hub, then we have to study about the classification of the automobiles. Then we have to go for the evolution of the automobiles introductions. Contrary to many of our major inventions, started of the inventions, the original idea of the automobile cannot be attributed to a single individuals. It is not up to a single individuals, but as a human have been thinking about different ways to travel for thousands of the years. Traveling started from one point to another point is very important for the human as well as for the goods. There is no simple answer to the questions who invented automobiles and when. It is not as easy questions who invented and when invented automobiles. Then it has been a work in progress, not at instant but continuously in developing over the past several hundred years. In this case, to better understand the history of the automobiles, it could be helpful to look at a timeline. Timeline means in this case we have to study about the variations of the time depending upon the time how it is changes. See how all the pieces fit together, means all the components how fit together. Depending upon the components fitted, it is to be classified in different categories. This timeline describes the inventions of automobiles and its development. So we have to go for the history depending upon the times. In year 1478, Leonardo da Vinci invented the self-propelled car. Self-propelled car means, self means in this case generated power self. This happened many years before anyone else even thought about automobiles. However, the car remains a sketch on paper and imaginations and was never actually made. Actually, in the starting, car inventions only on the basis of the imaginations and sketch on the papers, not in actual fields. It was similar to a cart and did not have a seat. Actually, in the starting, there is no seat, only like a cart. Then again, after some developments, in 1769, Nicolas Joseph Cugnot builds the first self-propelled road vehicle in France. This vehicle was a tractor for the French army. It had 3 wheels, that is known as auto type, and moved at about 2.5 miles per hour. Again, modifications occur in 1789 after some times emergence of a steam powered engine. Steam powered engine means in this case power driven by with the help of the steam. The American Olives Evans received the first US patent for the steam power land vehicles. Then in again development in 1801 in Great Britain, inventor Richard Trevithick built a steam powered road carriage. In this case, what changes are occurred? It was considered the first tramway locomotive designed for use on the road, not on railroad but on the roads. Then again modifications continuously occurred. In 1823 again English engineers and inventors Samuel Brown invents an IC engine. IC engine means that is internal combustion engine. Combustion occur inside the engines. It had separate combustion and working cylinders. Combustion part different and working cylinders both are different. Then again modification in this case occurred in 1832 after 9 years. Then Robert Anderson invented the first crude electric carriage in Scotland. It was powered by non-rechargeable primary power cell. That was not rechargeable means you are not going to again for the recharge purpose. In 1863 again modifications occurs. What modifications occurs? Belgian engineers Jean-Joseph Etienne's Lanier invents in horseless carriage. Horseless carriage means in this case there is no like a horse. It used an internal combustion engine. So in this case used internal combustion engine and was capable to move at about 3 miles per hour. As in case of previous 2.5, but in this case modifications occurs 0.5 more than the previous. This was the first commercially successful IC engine. Means this engine is used for the commercial purpose first times. Again in 1867 modifications occur by the German Nicholas August Otto made some improvements in the IC engine. Means in the previous time IC engine was developed but at the 1867 modifications occurs. His engine was the first to efficiency burn fuel effect directly into the combustion chamber. In year 1877 again modifications occurs. Otto builds the 4-cycle IC engine, which is the prevailing prototype for the modern car engine. Means in 1877 Otto develops 4-cycle in this case 4-cycle IC engine, means again developed with the help of 4 cycles. Then 1885 German engine designer Karl Benz builds the first true automobiles powered by a gasoline engines. Gasoline engines means in this case fuel used as a gas, not as a petrol or liquids or other solid fuels. It had 3 wheels and looked similar to a carriage. Again modifications continuously occur. In 1886 in Michigan, Henry Ford builds his first automobiles. Gottlieb Daimler's WM invented the first 4-wheeled, means in this case in 1887. Before that was the 3 wheels, but at this time 1886 develops 4-wheeled 4-stroke engine in Germany. It was known as the camshaft Daimlers. Camshaft in this case used a camshaft Newtons. In 1893 brothers Frank and Charles Edgar Duryea invented first successful gas powered in the United States. In 1896 Duryea's brothers started the first American car manufacturing company in Springfield, Massachusetts. It was known as the motor wagons. Then again develop occurs in 19th centuries, 1900. Steering wheels designed to replace steering tillers. Steering wheels means in this case steering purpose of the steering wheel is to steer the vehicles. In again modifications occurs in 1906 because time to time modifications are continuously done. In 1906 Alabama sets its state maximum speed limit of 8 miles per hour. Again in this case we are observing that speed of the vehicles is to be increases from 2.5 miles per hour to 8 miles per hour in 1906. Then in 1913 Ford's Model T production, which started in 1905, rockets from 7.5 cars per hour to 146. In this case production is to be increased again, because from time to time production of the car is to be also need for the country's developments. So in this case 1905 rockets from 7.5 cars per hour to 146 cars per hour, thanks to the utilization through the assembly lines, because in this case assembly line is to be utilized. By the utilizing of the assembly line production is to be increases. In year 1940 again develop occurred. The first 4-wheel drives all purpose vehicles was designed for the US military. It begins to be known as the Jeep. In 1962 in these modifications occur become the first state to enforce a seat belt law. It called for a seat belt be a standard requirement in automobiles. In 1974 airbags becomes a new car safety options. Means airbags options comes in the existence 1974. The purpose of that airbag is to provide the safety of the drivers. In year 1996 again modifications occurs in the body due to the rising cost of the petrol and diesel and impact of the global climate changes. Means continuously cost of the vehicles increases and petrol, diesel also. So zero emission electric vehicles came back to auto showrooms. Zero emission electric vehicles. Emission means in this case emission is the product after the combustion like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, NOx emission that is harmful for the societies. So in the development of the car, target of the manufacturer to minimize the emissions. So in this case one electric vehicles develops with the zero emissions. However, the first electric vehicle was designed in early 1800s. Then in the evolution in the Indian context here we are going to study like in 1897 first car ran on Indian road in Calcutta. It was assumed to be a French car D-Dawn, which was owned by Mr. Foster. Continuously in the development of the car or automobiles vehicles in year 1904 Mr. Jamshedji Tata a Porsche was the first Indian to buy a car in Bombay. Then motors was launched in 1942. Through 1930s car wears imports only in small numbers. Due to some constraint manufacturers are producing the car in small numbers. Hindustan Premier in 1944, buildings Crystal, Dog, F respectively. Mahindra and Mahindra was established by two brothers in 1945 and assembly of Jeep CJ3A, that is the models. Post-independence, Government of India and private sector launched efforts to create an automotive components manufacturing industry to supply to automobile industry. Again, after the independence in 1955, an import substitutions program was launched and import of fully built up cars began to be restricted. In this case, restrictions occurs for the fully built up cars begin to be restricted. Then, in case of automobile industries, pan India's, we have to study in this case automobile industry on the global hub. Majority of the India's car manufacturing industry in evenly around the three clusters. First is around Chennai is and the largest with a revenue share of 35%, accounting over 65% of the country's mobile exports. Chennai is the home of the operation of heavy vehicles factory, engine factory of Audis, availables Ford, Hyundai, Renault and Nissan, Mitsubishi, BMW, Daimler, Capro, Mini and Datsun etc. Second cluster is near Mumbai like Maharashtra, along Chakan corridor in Pune is the western cluster and 33% of the market shares. Audi, Volkswagens, Skoda are located in Aurangabad. Mahindra and Mahindra has a SUV and engine assembly plant at Nasik. Tata Motors, Mercedes-Benz, Land Rovers, Jaguar, Fiat and Ford Motors have assembly plants in western clusters. Means in this case we have to divide it up overall global hub into the three regions or three clusters. The northern cluster is around the NCR, contributes 32%. Maruti Suzuki in Gurugram and Manesar dominates these clusters. Honda and New Holland tractors, Fiat in Greater Noida. Fourth is an emerging sectors, an emerging cluster in the state of the Gujarat with a manufacturing industry of General Motors in Halol, a facility of Tata Motors in Sanand. Then Ford, Maruti Suzuki, Peugeot, Citroen plants are also planned for the Gujarat. Next is the Kolkata with Hindustan Motors now defunct. Bangalore with Toyota and Volvo are other automobile manufacturing regions around the countries. We have studied about the different evolutions, different with the timelines as well as at the automobile industry in a global hub in India pans. Next we have to study in next slide is classification of automobiles, because on the basis of different parameters, on the basis of different parameter, different components, again we have to classify the automobiles like two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers. Means on the basis of wheels we have to classify two-wheelers. All the vehicles having two wheels is known as the two-wheelers. If vehicles having three wheels then it is known as three-wheelers. If vehicles existing with the four wheels then it is known as four-wheelers. Again depending upon the wheels we have to give the numbers. Then belt or chain drive earth movers. Then again two-wheelers category of the automobiles further classified like scooters, general purpose motorcycles, mopeds, high performance motorbikes. Major two-wheelers manufacturers are in India as well as outside of the countries: Hero, Bajaj, TVS. These are the manufacturers: Honda, Royal Enfield, Yamaha, Suzuki, Harley Davidson, BMW, Hyundai and Ducati. Approximately over 2 crore two-wheelers run on the Indian roads according to the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers. In case of three-wheelers, further on the basis of the wheels we have to classify three wheels, like classified three-wheelers in this case on the basis of the fuel used on the, that is petrol, diesel, CNG, electric. Manufacturers includes Bajaj, TVS, Piaggio and Mayuri, Sarthi and many more. These are the manufacturers. As per SIEM, Society of Automobiles Manufacturers, 29075,605 units of three-wheelers run on Indian roads according to SIAM. Again, after completing of the two-wheelers, three-wheelers, then we have to categorize four-wheelers automobiles is on the basis of the various aspects. First is depending on the body configurations, hatchback, 2-box car, sedan, 3-box car, hardtop, coupe, convertible, limousine, sports car, SUV. SUV means sports utility vehicles, MUV means multi utility vehicles, and pickup truck. These are the categories on the basis of the configuration of the bodies. We can see from this slide hatchback, sports car, 4-door sedans, convertibles and others, pickup truck like. Then again classification of the vehicles is on the basis of the fuel used. Fuel used is petrol engines, diesel engines, gas engine, steam engine, hydrogen powered, electric. So in this case, if you are going to use the petrol as a fuel, all the engines is known as the, or all the vehicles is known as the petrol vehicles or petrol engine. If we are going to use diesel as a fuel, then all the engines or all the vehicles is known as the diesel engines. If we are going to use the gas like CNG, PNG or these are the known as the gas engine. Then if we are going to drive the vehicles with the help of the steam, then all the vehicles comes in the category of the steam engine. Actually in this case steam engine is also known as the external combustion engine, because we have to form the steam outside the engine, that is why it is known as the external combustion engine. So steam engine comes in the category of the external combustion engines. Then hydrogen powered. Hydrogen powered engines nowadays we have to use only for the purpose of the emission control as well as for the higher efficiency. Then electric. Electric vehicles are also comes in the nowadays in the fashion, because with the help of electric vehicles we get the emissions controls as well as pollutions control that will be comfortable for the passengers as well as communities. Then depending upon the engine locations, again we have to classify the engines on the basis of the location of the engine, because depending upon the body structures we have to classify or we have to locate the engines. Front engine means in this case engine is located front side of the vehicles, that is known as the front engines. Sometimes depending upon the suitability or depending upon the constraint we have to locate the engine in the rear sides, that is known as the rear engines. Then sometimes depending upon the space constraint, depending upon the other body constraint or depending upon the balancing, we have to mount the engine on the center, that is known as the centrally mounted engines. Then depending on the drive abilities, means ability to drive, in this case front wheel drives, rear wheel drives, 4-wheel drives, all wheel drives, 4x4 drives. Drive means in this case we have to concern with the transmission of the power. Which power? Power is developed inside the cylinder that will be transmitted from the cylinder to the camshaft with the help of connecting rod as well as crank. So if power is transmitted to the front wheel, that is known as the front wheel drives, and if power transmitted with the help of differential gears to the rear wheel, then it is known as the rear wheel drives. If power is transmitted through all the wheels, all the 4 wheels, in case of 4-wheel, that is known as the 4-wheel drives, and in case of all wheel drives, power transmitted by the engines is distributed to all wheel, that is known as the all wheel drives. Again in case of 4x4 drives, means in this case 4x4 means in all the 4 wheels power is transmitted. Then major 4-wheel manufacturers in the India are Maruti Suzuki, Hyundai India, Tata Motors, Mahindra and Mahindra, Honda CL India Limited, Toyota, Renault and Nissan India Private Limited, Ford. Then interesting facts about the automobile industries: contributes 25% of the manufacturing GDP of the India. Auto industries currently employs 2 crore people, both directly and indirectly. Directly and indirectly means sometimes manufacturing industry of the automobiles is consisting of the various number of ancillaries companies that employs also related with that industry, that is known as the indirectly associated peoples. If the industry grows as per its potential, it could generate employment for over 5 crore people by next 2 years. Then again interesting fact is auto industry generates employment for 13% for a production of one truck, 6% for production of one car, 4% production of one three-wheel car, 1% for production of one motorcycle. ये automobile is the most recycled consumer product in the world. The first car did not have steering wheels, were operating by lever steering dials and airbag inflates within it. So we have to study, we have in this slide we have studied evolution of the industries, evolution of the automobile vehicles, evolution of the automobiles from since according to the timelines, according to the bodies, according to the parts, and we have also studied classifications of the vehicles on the basis of the different parameters. Thanks for your attention. Thank you.